Well, welcome. This is Dunamis Woman. Today I am Michelle Obasi, and I know it's a little change in the scenery. I am actually going to interview Pastor D. Collins today. I am her spiritual daughter. I am also under her auspices. And I have been promoting and reading How to Pray on Purpose with Power. And you may have seen me in a commercial, but I have to come to you naked and unashamed. I read the book, I read the book, but now it's time for me to get an understanding and apply it to my life. But there are certain things that I just do not know about prayer. I'm going to give you a little background of myself. Up until 4 years ago, when I came to Change of Life and was imparted into through School of Life, Leadership Institute, I didn't know anything about God. I had read the Bible. It was a chore to me. It was something that I did to say I did it. As far as praying, the only prayer I knew was the prayer I said as a little girl. Now I lay me down to sleep. I'm 43 years old. I think I was 39 at the time. A lot of people say, well, that's so sad. But that's real. That's real for so many people. So I want to take a step back and I want to just ask questions about prayer. I'm at a crossroad in my life. I'm moving forward. God has a lot going for me, but I have a child. And when I had this child, that's the first time I had really gotten serious about going to church because I knew I could not do that on my own. So I'm here today for myself, but I'm here for my seed. I'm here so that my child will live. She won't be 39 years old, not knowing anything about her power and prayer. So
and Michelle, I just want to say it real quick, because you know it's hard for me to shut my mouth.
Okay.
You are here because it's a lot of women like unto yourself. It's unfortunate that they just don't admit it.
Right.
And we just continue to go on and on and on. But you're here standing as an intercessor. And that's what an intercessor does. And we're going to get into that, you know.
Yes.
But you're here as a repairer of the breach that the women have been broken, who do have daughters, who do have sons, you know. And if we don't make a change, then we're going to see some other damaging effects. So that's what I just wanted to interject.
Well, I thank you for that.
Before you start asking me all these questions.
I'm going to ask you tons of questions. Be ready. But seriously, and I'm not ashamed. My questions are going to be very, and I'm just going to start. What is the purpose of prayer? And I'll tell you that because I'm angry in a sense. I have been praying for things. I've been praying for deliverance from certain things all of my life. And to me, it's not been answered. So I'm coming to you in a couple of different ways. I'm trying not to be ashamed, but I got a little of like, I'm 43 years old. Why don't I know this? But I'm coming with some anger to God because I have been asking for things. And so I need to know, and maybe I'm coming to you like, how do you effectively pray to get results? You know, that's the bottom line.
That's the bottom line.
I read the book to say, okay, God, I've been praying for 43 years. How are you going to answer me? When? So my question for you, my first question, honestly, what's the purpose of prayer? What is it?
Well, let me say this before you start asking me all these questions.
Okay.
First of all, I'm honored that you can come boldly to ask me questions, because I think that that's needed in the body of Christ, where we as the people that God has called us to lead, such as from a pastoral perspective, parental perspective, whatever perspective you're that we don't really sit down and ask bold questions.
Right.
You know, we're basically taught just do. You know, and a lot of people are doing, and they really don't know what they're doing, you know, and in that they don't know how to be effective. You know, we just go to work, raise kids, provide them clothes, shoes, do the best we can to keep the lights and gas on. And unfortunately, that type of mentality has crept into the church. You know, we just get the people to come in, pay your tithes, pay your offerings, you know, do this, go through the formalities, you know, because we got to stay afloat and we got to prosper. But realistically, the people are not prospering. Okay, so let me just say that. Ask, because I'm honored to be on this side of the table, and we're coming on TV intentionally. The purpose of prayer is strictly a direct communion with God. Okay, and a lot of things that I'm going to say as you're asking questions, I'm going to just throw out nuggets, because we're going to have, it has to be taught. Okay, you know, we like to teach people based upon what we think and what we do. And unfortunately, we as leaders are not getting results. You know what I'm saying? We're just getting people to do what we want them to do, you know. But from heaven, you understand what I'm saying? To see the change in the earth, we're not being as effective in prayer. And we can look at it when it comes to the divorce rate. We can look at it when it comes to the conditions of our men. And that's why we're here, raising the voice of our men worldwide. They're not here, but that's our heart. You see what I'm saying? The order of God has to be instilled. So prayer is saying what God has already said. And that is so, it sounds simple.
It does.
And it is simple.
But I'm confused.
But we make it complex.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I don't have any type of authority but what the authority my Lord has given me already. I say what he say because I think like he thinks. That's why our mind has to be renewed before we start going off to these prayers, saying what we think, saying what we want, saying how we feel, and praying for fleshly things that has no validity of being here in this earth to make change. Now, you know, when my kids was, you know, we went to Toys R Us. And, oh, mommy, can I have this Barbie doll? Oh, mommy, you know, they were my sweet little daughters. I bought them the Barbie doll. They asked, and I gave it to them because of their level of maturity.
Okay.
They were babies. God is not, he may give us some things like that, you see what I'm saying? Because we're babies. You know, oh, daddy, you know, oh, Father, and he give it to them. And oftentimes we get stuck there. Okay. Now, my daughters are 25 and 26, or 27. I lose count. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, Ma, can I have? I don't say no, but I don't respond. I tell them what they need to do in order to get the results. Does that make sense?
It does. It does.
You implement this, you're going to get it. But it's not me giving it to you no more. You got the power. And that's what the prayer is. You got the power. You speak it as you know it to be so. And yet as you do it and speak it, you act upon it. Does that make sense?
It does. But for somebody in pain like myself, and I'm I'm speaking out of my pain, where does that get me?
That's where your supplication is, and that's what the book, the prayer, How to Pray with Power on Purpose, because we don't. I talk about in the book where my pain is where my power is, and I'm gonna try not to get to crying here. Because when I think about the Bible, James, I believe, is talking about with prayer and supplication. Let your requests be made known. Confess your faults one to another, that you may be healed. And the fervent prayer of the righteous, the fervent. You see what I'm saying? We just stop there. With healing comes prayer. Does that make sense?
It does.
So if I'm not in pain, I don't need any healing. So when I confess, you know, it's not, I messed up and I smoked a cigarette. That's not the fault. I missed the mark. You know what I'm saying? And the pain is keeping me from missing the mark. And I have to be able to confess that. This pain, and I need healing. But now that pain has come from my purpose. So instead of me thinking about my pain, how many other women have been rejected and abused like me? And when I forget about myself, and I start praying for that remnant of women, when I start praying for that nation, it brings healing to me. Okay. Does that make sense?
It does.
I could go a little bit deeper.
It does, because I want you to, because, you know, I struggle with, God, when can I selfishly pray for my needs, my healing?
Your needs are going to get met as you intercede for others. You see what I'm saying? I could just, let me just say this, in my marriage. Okay. You know, when I was in my marriage and he stepped out with another woman. You know what I mean? Yeah, I ain't like it. It caused me pain. You see what I'm saying? Because that sting of betrayal, this was a man that I loved. But I wasn't focusing on me. I focused on that woman. Because I understand that woman was in emotional pain. Why? Because I've been in an adulterous situation before. Okay. I'm not all this and all that. So you never forget where you came from, but I know God delivered me. Okay. And I know I didn't do that because I was a whoremonger. I didn't do that because I was trying to break up somebody's home. That action took place because Davetta was in emotional pain at that time. I was damaged. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't put anybody down, because we're emotionally damaged, you know. So when I fell into that, God delivered me. So now I understand how that happened. He was in emotional pain and she was in emotional pain. But why you didn't focus on him? Because we are the life givers as women.
Okay.
A man can only do what a woman allows him to do. You see what I'm saying? So if women get healed, then the men will get healed. So instead of me focusing on me and what my pain is and what this man did and what she did, she is a hurting woman.
Okay.
So what I had to remember what I needed when I was a hurting woman. And what I needed in prayer as a hurting woman is what I gave her in supplication. God, heal her. And I began to cry out. And I began to, because it wasn't about me no more. It's about her, because I've been there. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. I need definition. I learn when I have words broken down for me. So to do this, I want to talk about supplication. You mentioned it a few times. It first came over my head, but I think I know. But I don't want to assume.
That's right.
Because that makes something out of me that I don't need to be. So we are going to come back. Give us a few seconds. Enjoy this commercial.
Dunamis Woman and Real Awesome Men magazine is not just a publication that empowers you to break through barriers for great success, but we are a magazine that supports the mission of other organizations. So I am so happy for our fall 2014 issue, which is a special edition strictly for the Schaumburg Business Association. And we are coupling up with Alzheimer's Association to support their mission and their cause. Alzheimer's is something that affects many families all around the world, whether it's your mother, your grandfather, your grandmother, or your father. And it really is something that most people really hold dear to their heart. And so we want you to help us support Alzheimer's Association by going to our website and buying a single issue for a low cost of just $6.95. That's just $6.95 that you could help us give back to Alzheimer's Association. So visit www.dunamis-woman.com and get your copy today.
Welcome back. This is Dunamis Woman Today. I am Michelle Obasi, and of course I am here with Pastor D. And we left off, I was telling Pastor D about my just needing to know the definitions of words, the meaning of words. We can say a lot of things, and we even quote the Bible and have all these words, but we do not know the meaning. We do not know the context before or after. You've been talking about the word supplication, and I just want you to help me understand what does it mean to supplicate on behalf of somebody else. I'm telling you I'm in pain. You telling me to supplicate. I don't understand what you're going through.
You know what? Thank God I'm laughing, because I feel it just I feel a supplication. It's a travail. And you can't get it without being healed. So many people are self-absorbed.
Okay.
And when I say self-absorbed, it's all about them. With supplication, it's not about you. You only experience pain that you may feel what other people feel. But it's not to keep you there. Does that make sense? And when you supplication means, it's so simple. It means a request. It means a petition. According to the Greek term deesis, that, you know, it's just a petition. Who am I petitioning for?
Okay.
I'm petitioning for a person who hurt like me.
Okay.
And I don't want people to hurt. If you really love, when you love, you don't want people to hurt.
Right. That's
I don't
true.
want my children to hurt. I don't want my husband to hurt. Wherever he gonna be, he is. I don't want I don't want you to hurt.
Right.
That's why I labor so much with pastoring. I don't want my staff to hurt. You know what I'm saying? When you love, you don't want people to hurt. But when you got hurt and hate in your heart, you inflict pain.
Okay.
You inflict pain on people. You see what I'm saying? With your words, with your mouth. And so many of us are praying deadly prayers. God, do this. God, show them. We could. I've heard people use the scriptures so vindictively. They quote the truth of what it states.
Right.
That's okay. What a man soweth, that also he gonna reap.
Yeah.
I mean, they use it such with pain. And they don't hear themselves because they think that they're quoting it correctly. Well, terminology-wise, they are. But inwardly, it's inflicting pain. And with supplication, I have to make a request. You know, with prayer and supplication, let your request
Be made.
be made known with a fervency, with a petition like you want somebody to do unto yourself.
So for me, for example, I have an ex-husband and he inflicted pain. But I pray for his deliverance every day. It's not a selfish prayer. It's a prayer that he be delivered from whatever he's going through.
Correct.
Because I do love.
Correct.
He is my ex-husband, but I do love.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm praying for his deliverance, and I'm praying it because I want to see our child heal. His other children.
Okay.
Heal. You know what I'm
So
saying?
with that, let me give you a strategy.
Okay.
Okay, because many people don't understand strategies.
Okay.
When you ever heard the saying, what goes around comes around?
Exactly.
Okay. You better believe it's going to come around. The very man that inflicted pain on you is who your daughter's going to attract if he's not healed. That's why you want him healed.
That's why I want her daddy healed.
That's why you want her daddy healed. Not only do you want her to experience that pain, if he chooses to get with another woman, you don't want her to experience that
Exactly.
pain. You don't want you, if he wasn't faithful to you, God heal him. That he may be faithful. Make him a faithful man. Make him an honest man. I want my ex-husband to, if what I never experienced with him, I want him to have it with her.
And the more I pray that, and the more I supplicate, the more I get
Because
healed.
I don't want a woman to experience. He's a good man. Oh, I wouldn't have married him if I didn't see some good qualities.
Right.
Come on
My
now.
ex-husband is a good man. He's an awesome
He's
man.
awesome, and that's why you married him. But his pain came out during the course of the marriage.
Right.
My husband's pain came out during the course of our marriage at that time. And what that pain inflicted on me, you think I want another woman to live like that?
Right.
I endured and I came out because I understand the power of prayer. No matter what, he heard me get up. Matter of fact, he wrote the foreword to the book. I didn't get no renowned pastor, you know what I mean, or this nice name that somebody knows to try to convince somebody. He gladly wrote the foreword in the book. Her prayers is like a thunder. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So even when he knew he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do, he still heard me pray. He heard, well, the people can say, well, Devetta, why are you not together? Prayer don't always get what I want.
Right. Okay. Talk about that.
Prayer don't. We want prayer to answer our way. Prayer answers God's way. Sometimes they got to go backwards before they come forward.
So, you know, praying, that's probably why I started off saying my prayers don't get answered, because I'm looking for God to do it
The way you want him to do
Exactly.
it. And he's not. I'm going to be ghetto. He ain't.
He ain't gonna do it.
He ain't going
ain't
to
gonna
do
do
it.
No, but
He ain't gonna do it.
But that's real. And now I understand.
And that's why we give up on praying. Because it wasn't answered. The answer didn't appear the way we wanted to
Right,
appear.
right, right.
Oh, let me tell you something. I prayed. And trust me, I wasn't praying. We were praying. Come on,
Yeah, we
Michelle.
were.
We get up at 4 o'clock every morning. Dunamis Woman. Everybody that's connected with Dunamis Woman, as I have
Every day, 4 in the
led them
morning.
from a pastoral perspective, we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and we ain't praying, Lord bless us. We're crying out to God. And why 4 o'clock in the morning? You want to know what 4 o'clock in the morning? Because that's called the graveyard
Yes,
shift.
Lord.
And that's when the principalities and the enemy begin to stratagem and plot in the heavenlies. And that's the time that when even I used to work the graveyard shift. So in the graveyard shift, I could endure to 2, 3 o'clock. But that 4 o'clock, girl, I was in a comatose state. I was like, oh,
Wow.
Jesus. Oh, yeah. It's the hardest, you know, you can go all the way up there to 4 o'clock. And people have said this who work the graveyard shift. That 4 o'clock coming is like something come over them.
Okay.
And that's why we get up at that time, because that's when people basically go into a deep sleep. It's an awkward time to get up. 5, they typically would get up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But ain't nobody get up at 4 o'clock in the morning unless
Right,
they
right,
really
right.
have a job or a graveyard shift. Or, you see what I'm saying? They don't even let you off at 4 o'clock in the morning. You know? So the reality is that's why we do it, because that's when the enemy is plotting in the heavenly. So we come to counterattack. And we're counterattack because we're not just saying, Lord, bless me with $5. Lord, give me this. Or, Lord, we're crying out on behalf of our men. We're crying out on behalf of women. We're coming up against Jezebelic spirits that's keeping our men in their mind held hostage. We're coming up against women who's using their body, because men are visual. And if they don't like nothing else, they like some sex. Come on now.
Yeah.
And they get caught up in stuff. Ain't nothing wrong with sex, don't get me wrong. I like it too. But reality is, I can't just pray for a man to God send me a husband because I want some sex.
Right.
Because even when you get it, you still didn't know what to do with it.
You don't know what you're asking for.
You don't know what you're asking for. Because with that penis comes some pain.
Comes some pain and some issues.
You better come some pain.
You know what? You've been teaching us recently about travail. And I just, at some point, like I think I'm going to have a comparison. Like some people speak in tongues, some people lay out on the floor, some people do this. But, I want you to really talk about, because that's where I'm stuck. Travail. Travailing. Because, I do my thing. But I'm looking at everybody else, I'm like, they is really into it.
Let me say this. Let me just break. Let me annihilate
please
that noema. Because first of all, let me just say this. I've been learning about prayer basically all my life. I remember myself sitting down on the porch in front of my house when I was 4 or 5 years old. That's the only time I can remember beginning. And I used to sit up there and talk to the heavens and say, like, God, who am I? Why me? I used to just ask those questions. I want the Lord bless my mama. Lord, why me? That's prayer. You see what I'm saying? That's prayer. And I didn't ever understand it, but I know that I've been emotionally abused and going through rejection and abandonment and misunderstanding all my life because he was making me a prayer warrior.
Okay.
Oh, I understand it now. You see what I'm saying? But you ain't gonna tell me nobody understand in the beginning.
No.
So don't even worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something you have to grow into as you submit to leadership. Now, as I submitted, I didn't submit to my pastor. I had a pastor.
Okay.
I submitted to my spiritual mother, Sandra Norris. I'll call her name.
Okay.
She would have all three of us, Deborah, Kathy, myself, and we would follow her. We would go where she went. And the main place when we came home, we was laying on that floor. Now, I didn't know what she was talking about when she was praying. You know what I'm saying? But out of obedience, we did what she told us to do. We didn't understand it, but we did it. All three of us right now are prayer warriors. Did she lay hands on us? Da, 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 da. It's impartation by submission. Impartation through submission. And many people don't have that. Impartation. Because first of all, our natural mothers is broken.
Yeah.
Because they're broken women.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So my mother was broken. My mother didn't teach me how to pray. It was my spiritual mother.
Okay. And it's like unto you. My mother did not teach me, but I'm learning through you.
Because cycles repeat itself. Remember, what goes around comes around. You see what I'm saying? But I wouldn't know what I do but impartation. But as the pain and the divorces and the rejection and the abuse or whatever, I had something in my soul that I didn't know what I had, and that was the power of prayer. So we wasn't on that talking about, Lord, bless us with some lipstick, some clothes or whatever. It was a travail. Now, many people are, I've been around old folks all my life, and they hollering or whatever, and they making it sound good, and they're not getting no results.
Okay, so I shouldn't. I got you.
They ain't getting no results. Because when I'm telling you,
process.
when Sandra Norris got up off that floor and we was with her, she walked in love. When people was talking about her, she prayed for them.
Okay.
When her family wasn't understanding, she still loved them. You see what I'm saying? Okay. She wasn't trying to convince nobody. She lived the life. Okay. She's still richly blessed today, looking good at her age, because of power of prayer that sustains you. Does that make sense? And that impartation is there. And that's why God has told me I'm the mother of a lot of daughters. Because they did not be mothered. I don't gloat in that, but I ain't your mother just to tell you do this, do that. It's about prayer.
It's about prayer.
And it's asking questions. And we'll be around Dunamis Woman in School of Life, and we'll just sit there and y'all just ask questions.
Exactly.
Because many people don't like people to ask them questions. And I'm talking about naked and not ashamed.
And that's what it's about.
And that's what it's about. Well, I think we're at the end of this.
We are at the end.
Part two.
Thank you. We are having a part two. We have to have a part two because I still have some things that I want to ask and I want to just be imparted into me live on television so that you can also experience it. It is my prayer, seriously, that we be healed as women. And we have the knowledge and the understanding and be able to apply it, not for just ourselves, but for generations to come. So I want you to stay tuned to part two, and I thank you.
Well, there you have it, a power-packed show that truly I did not mind Michelle to ask me questions. I believe that questions need to be asked in our home, in our church, in our community, and not just being told what to do when we really don't know how to do it. And if I was to change anything that I was doing as far as the name, it would be how to. How to lead, how to ministries, how to, because that's what we need to know. How to do what God has called us to do with specificity. So I am coming to you because, first of all, prayer is my life. I believe in it. I live by it. I don't flaunt it. It's just who I am. But I have seen it get so many results. And that's why I wrote this power-packed book, How to Pray with Power and Purpose. Now, let me say this to you. No, the book is not 100 and something pages because, first of all, it didn't need to be. I believe that, first of all, whatever God has for you and has for me, it doesn't take it long and drawn out. It needs to be clear, precise, with instructions. And that's why it's called a power tool. It's naked and not ashamed of my life. It's the prayer that you have to live by to be able to do it, to get results in your life. And that's why it's a power series. You could put it in your purse. You could put it at your desk. You could pick it up just when you need to refresh your memory about some things, because it's going to teach you how to execute. And when you're in the situation, when you're facing the circumstance, you oftentimes lose sight of what to do and how to do it effectively. That's why it's a power tool. So not only can Michelle ask me questions, I want you to ask me questions. I want you to get this book right here. It's literally $8.95, but I want you, because we had talked about on the show 2 or more. So when you purchase 2 or more, it's going to be $5 per book for 2 or more. Call me. I don't want you to go to the website, because I want you to call me to get that special deal for 2 or more. 1-855-BE-DUNAMIS, 1-855-BE-DUNAMIS, or 847-908-0650. You can use this book in your own home. You can use it with your daughters. You can use it in your church, with your ministry, with your women's ministry. You can do it wherever and use it for whatever you want. But I admonish you, because it is truly time to pray with power on purpose. I am Dee Collins, and I look to hear from you. Give me a call. I want to talk to you.
Woman.